We are live. Hello, everybody. I can't reach my drumsticks. I have bad dreams about that. I'm at a gig and I'm like, oh no, there's no drumsticks. I'm Bar Robley. Welcome to Drummers Education Connection. I'm here with some amazing people. First of all, over here in square number one, Jeremy Steinkohler, up in the
Next gets the
Bay
square.
Area.
What's up, everyone?
Down in
Happy New Year.
San Diego, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy with the coolest drum room on the face of the planet, Rick Stojak.
Hey, Happy New Year, everyone.
And the guy that can spin his stick so fast that he can fly like a B 52 Mitchell bomber,
Look at that.
Chip Ritter.
Hey,
Right
Happy New Year.
on.
You could power an electrical grid with
He does. You know what? Just the other day, Chip and I were hanging out, and he did that, and his hand made the sound of one of those old 42, rotary engines. His hand went. It was badass, man. It was.
That's
really
because
cool.
I've been anointed with spinology.
Spinology. Ooh,
yeah.
a new one. Hey, 2023. We're kicking it off with spinology. Hey, that's what we're going to talk about. Well, hold on. Before I kick it off, Jeremy, you live in the Bay Area. There's lots of bad things with floods and horrible stuff happen in Sacramento. Are you okay? You doing okay up there?
We're 100% fine. 100%.
Okay.
Sacramento's an hour and a half north from here.
Yeah.
And there's stuff going on worse in the northern parts of California, but nothing. I mean, there's some floods and some stuff, but nothing affected us at all.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're okay.
Thanks for asking.
And yeah, you bet. So anyway, today we're talking about setting goals. We're talking about setting goals because it's the new year. Today's the first show of the year, January 3rd, and all of us here on deck are big believers in setting goals and moving forward with our businesses, whether it be teaching or doing gigs or doing recording sessions or writing books or what have you. Um, and the guy that actually talks for my money that talks the best about setting goals is a guy right down below me there, Mr. Ritter. Chip is a goal setting guy.
Hello.
So what I want to
yeah.
do is I want to throw it to you in the opening today, Chip. What are some of the things not only that you do to set goals and with your lists and everything that you talk about, but what are some of your specific goals for this year that you want to achieve with your business, with drumming and stuff?
Well, one of the first things I do is I take my magic wand
Mhm.
and I wave my magic wand, and now I'm in a place where anything is possible. There are no limits. Whatever I want can happen. And I get out a piece of paper and I write down my goals. And three of my top goals this year is going to be lose 20 pounds, improve my speed on drums, and publish my book. And so what I'll do is I'll write all three of those down on a piece of paper, and then I'll take a separate piece of paper and write down one of the goals on top. And then I'll write what would need to happen for this to be true. And I'll brainstorm and I'll just start writing different things that could be happening. It doesn't matter whether they're in reality, based in reality or not. I'll just keep writing out all kinds of things until I get done and I can't write anymore. And then I'll look it through there, and there's going to be some really important ones that'll stand out that'll make a lot of sense to me. And so, like walk every day, join a gym, change my diet, eat tuna. And then what I do from there is I take one of those and I try to break it down, like eat tuna. I break it down to what's going to have to happen for me to eat some tuna. And one of them is to go to the store and buy some tuna. So I'm going to write down on my daily card is going to have a gratitude list and my to-do list for the goals, that my top goals for today. And one of those goals is going to be buy tuna. And so that's going to put me in physical action to walk towards my goals and help make them into a reality.
Can I jump in here for a second? I love what you said there, Chip. Was something really important about what would need to happen for this to become a reality. And that's a really great way of thinking about things, because otherwise it's pie in the sky, or it's maybe something can happen, but you don't exactly know how you're going to get there. And I got to share this story with you because it's hilarious. When Evan was in kindergarten, one of the assignments in class was you had to write something, how to do something. It could be anything you want. how to do whatever in 3 steps. So you had to write 3 steps that you had to do to achieve some goal. And, and he wrote his thing. It was it was how to stare at a turkey.
How to stare at a turkey?
Right on.
Wow.
Step 1, find
Wow.
a turkey.
Step 1, find a turkey.
Wow.
Step 2, look at a turkey. Step 3, stare at a turkey.
That's brilliant.
That is.
You know, it's
Beautiful.
brilliant.
That's how
That's
to break
exactly
it
it.
down.
I know. That's what I'm saying, man. Kids,
Yeah.
they say the truth, right? They have wisdom. So,
Wow.
I mean, you know, if you want to get better, let's, instead of staring at a turkey, maybe your goal is, you know, you want to be able to play in a band, right? Or you want to be able to. I know it's
Sorry.
Yeah.
What would you need to do here? Let's open this up to to all of us. What would you do? You had a student come in,
Okay.
and they said, you know, I've been playing drums for 5 years, and I've been working hard, and like, you know, I've never played in a band before. 2 years, whatever. How do I find a band to play in? What are the steps you take to find a band?
I would go see a band.
Mhm.
That'd be the first thing I get in the scene. I'd start
Yep.
watching bands and talking to the musicians in those
Mhm.
bands. I'd ask,
Networking,
network. I'd say, how
Yep.
did you do it?
right? Good.
You guys
Right.
need a drummer.
I think networking, and I also think you know, networking with drummers, because sometimes the first step to getting into a band is maybe subbing for a band.
Mhm.
And you may have a friend that's a drummer in a band that they're thinking about, well, they can't do, they're too busy, and they're in 2 or 3 bands, and they want to sub out a couple of gigs, and they may be leaving a band. So they might throw you a gig. Hey, I'm thinking about maybe not working with this band anymore, and I don't want to leave them high and dry because there's gigs on the books and I've got a conflict. Why don't you go sub for me? So I think networking with other drummers, and then also subbing for, you know, one of your buddies. And that being said, I will say, never steal a gig from somebody. If you're called the sub on the gig, go sub on the gig. But if your buddy's like, hey, I think I might be leaving this group because of A, B, C, and D, maybe you could fill in and see what you think. I think that's a good networking thing too.
Yep. Excellent. Chip.
Absolutely. I think that, you know, when you're trying to find a band, you're trying to get into the situation, you also could go on Facebook and try to find your local musicians groups or people who are in the
Mhm.
scene and actively looking at booking gigs and doing things with bands, and join that group and then become active and, you
Mhm.
know, network that way. That could be a way to get a lead on there.
Right. Excellent. Excellent. All terrific advice, you guys. And don't forget Craigslist. That's sort of the modern
Yeah.
clearinghouse for local bands looking for musicians. And you know, the very first band I played in when I moved to the Bay Area after I got out of college, I found from looking at a classified ad in the newspaper, and that ended up being a conduit to all sorts of so many things that came after it. So more connections lead to more connections. So
Yes. And you know what? And down here in San Diego, if you're in San Diego, you know, if you took a lesson with me or 2 or 3 or 10, you might get a phone. I likely am going to get lots of phone calls for gigs that I'm not going to have time to do.
Yep.
So what is the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to refer those people, those calls to my students who are ready to gig.
okay, I'm going to put down on my 2023 goals, take a lesson with Rick Stojak.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. Because I get a call for someone, hey, I need somebody who's got a great New Orleans thing or a great jazz thing. I'm going to, you know, Jeremy Steinkohler is much more
Is the
qualified for
guy.
the gig, man. He's, you know.
Yep.
Yeah,
Totally.
there it is.
And don't be afraid of that. See, I like that, Rick, because what you just said, don't be afraid to say that, hey, I'm not the right guy for the gig. Because if somebody says to me, I'm going to play, I've got a gig and we're doing a bunch of New Orleans second line. Well,
Yeah.
I can fake my way through a song, but am I going to be able to pull off a gig and sell it? And if I go do that gig and I don't sell it, I'm going to give myself a black eye. I would rather say, you know what? I'm not, I could get you through a song, but my buddy Jeremy, exactly, Rick. My buddy Jeremy can pull it off, and he's the man for the job.
That's
Yeah,
right. And then
yeah.
how many students have we had? I mean, I've had many situations where a student comes in and this person is drumming their tail off, and I'm thinking,
Yep.
wow, what a great drummer.
Mhm.
I think, man, that might be someone I could refer out one
Mhm.
day
Mhm.
for a gig, and then they don't show up for a lesson, or they're not good at communicating,
Right.
confirming lessons. I'm
Right.
like, I don't care how good you are, I'm not going to refer you
Sure.
if you're not a responsible person.
Well, because you're putting yourself on the line, your
Yep.
reputation. When you refer somebody, right, it reflects
Mhm.
badly on you if they
Yep.
don't show up in a professional manner. Yeah.
Exactly.
Totally.
Exactly.
Totally.
So back to setting goals more generally.
Yes.
Chip talked about what his goals, which, by the way, Chip, I wish you full success with those, man. Those are 3 excellent things. And
What kind of bread are you going to make your tuna sandwich on?
Yeah.
Probably a wrap.
A wrap. Well,
Wraps,
there you
yeah,
go.
that's really
Yeah,
good.
wraps are good.
Nice.
Hey, Rick,
I'm a
so I'm
marble
sorry.
rye man myself, but
Oh, marble rye. That's nice.
yeah.
A deep cut.
Chip, do you
Oh, see,
rap,
now we
by the
got to do
way?
it. I'm starving now.
Chip, do you rap, by the way?
Parental discusses his vibes when Chip Ritter gets candid. I rap like a renowned bandit, arrange the tempo, rock the solo. I'm reading the mic to the mic and it's oh so raw. I'll make you want to jam. Then you go and damn, he's good and you're right because I am.
Damn, son,
Yeah.
dude, that was a home run.
How did you know to ask that, Rick? Wow.
Jeez.
So see, I'm not taking any rap gigs. I'm referring those to Chip Ritter for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
jeez.
exactly.
Also-
Nobody's ever said to me, Bart, can you throw a little rap out there for me? It hasn't happened.
Yeah.
But
I'd be
Chip,
like a turkey wrap or a
yeah.
rap. That's all.
Dude, that was badass, Chip. I'm
Man.
totally impressed. Okay.
So,
Yeah. So Rick, what's one of your goals for the year, and what do you do to set your goals? What do you do?
All right. Well, also, this is a concept that I'm playing with, and what I'll say is anybody's system. If you've got a system of making goals, good for you. I think they're all valid, and I think everyone is unique, and just coming up with any kind of goal planning is a good idea, because
Yep.
I really feel that what we say, what we think, how we act, it tends to sort of work out one way or another. So
Right.
if you're positive, I think positive things happen. If you focus on the negative, I think that likely can happen. And what I'd say also is don't compare yourself. Don't start looking and comparing yourself to other people. Especially if you look on social media, you're going to say, oh, that person's got the dream gig and they've got the dream house and the dream partner and their playing is so good and they're so happy. So I think I'll do exactly what they've done. But you don't know that they're happy.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on with them.
Right,
So,
right.
it's just an illusion, especially on social media. Everyone looks happy and
Right. So
killing it
success-
on
and
social
successful.
media.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yep.
ever posts on social media, I am a jerk. Nobody wants to work with me, and my life sucks.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah.
at this crappy apartment I live in. Nobody does that.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Or I blow off appointments.
Yeah, exactly. I was
Woo.
gonna go. I got a call for his gig today, but I said screw it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're not
people
gonna
don't do
post
that.
that.
They just tell you
Yeah.
how great they are on social
Yeah.
media.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
check
That's great
this out.
advice, Chip. Rick. Sorry.
Rick.
Thank you, Jeremy. So honestly, I started thinking about this yesterday. I am not sure if I know what's for my best and highest good. I really don't know exactly. So this is a
You don't know
little
what? Say that
context.
again. I'm sorry, I didn't hear
I
you. What'd you say?
don't really know what's for my best and highest good. Do
Oh,
I
okay.
so I'm just playing with this idea. Maybe you guys could contribute this. So
Okay.
do I know that more gigs is a better thing for me? Do I know that more students are better for me? I don't know. Maybe I'm already tapped out. Maybe I'm going to lose my, not offer as good a drum lessons. Or do I really have time for more gigs? Maybe I'm not
Yeah.
going to do great gigs. Or
Yeah.
or do I know that, okay, so I teach privately one-on-one. Could I set up a goal of having an online subscription type format for drum lessons? Do I really know that that's going to be in my, good for me?
Mhm.
So it's just something to play with, a thought. It's just like, we think we want this event or this stuff, and,
Yeah.
I don't know for a fact that that's
Well,
for my best and highest
Can
good.
I throw something at that, Rick? Because
Yeah,
you
please.
said something that I thought at the end of last month. December always gets a little weird for me for two reasons. Number one, things slow down for two reasons. It's the end of the year and Christmas is coming, or for a lot of reasons. It's the end of the year, Christmas is coming up, and I've always taken the week between Christmas and New Year's off and not taught. Usually gigs slow down. Band will only do a couple of gigs in December, and so I have to think about things financially.
Yeah.
But so one of the things that I did was, and that I've done for years is like I'll have a day where it's like, okay, I'm not going to be teaching that last day of the last week of the year, so I'll just stack up lessons all day long.
Yeah.
Okay, and I do that. And the other day I was teaching, and right before the end of the year, right before Christmas break, and I had one day in particular where I was teaching all day. And by the time I got to the last two lessons, I was pretty shot. I had to really dig deep down, really dig. I mean, I know you guys have been there, to give my students my all, because I never want to phone in a lesson. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So back to the thing of building a bad reputation for yourself. So what I did was, I thought to myself, what I'm going to do this year is I'm not going to do that again in December. I'm going to plan accordingly, because I know the lesson was good deep down inside, but I also don't want to be at a point ever where where I am phoning it in.
Yeah.
And
Right.
and so
Right.
is this really a good thing for me to be doing? Is it really a
Right.
good thing for me to be stacking my lessons this deep into the day, so that by the time I get to the last student, I'm shot. And
Right.
if they have
Right.
I don't want to do that. So that's kind of food, for thought along what you were saying, I think.
That's right. And you could have made a goal, written down a goal. I want to teach 100 hours this month.
Right.
But maybe you actually needed to roll back a little bit. I mean, I know
Yeah.
we have to make ends meet. We have to take care of our health. And those are all, like I said, when we started, any goal I think is a good goal.
Right.
But maybe you're going to have more energy in the long run and provide a better service
Mhm.
if you take that back. So
Right.
it's not that I would say don't write I want to teach 100 hours, but one of the things that I kind of look at is like, how do you figure this all out, right? And
Right.
and
Right.
and so I kind of go with a clue, man, how it feels. If this goal feels so arduous that it stresses me out, to me, that's a sign. Well, maybe that's not what I want to be doing.
Right.
But but if I'm energized by those steps, right? Like go get the turkey. Like, okay, getting the turkey really energized me, man. Then I'm like, man, I think this should be on my goal list. And I want to stare around at the
Did you say
turkey.
getting the turkey or staring at the
Well,
turkey?
first you have to find the turkey.
Find the turkey.
See, so finding the turkey
Yeah.
was really energizing. So I'm like, okay, I think
Right.
that's a good, like I'm on the right track with an ambition or a goal.
You know,
But if I hate turkey if I don't really like turkey and I'm like, I don't like hunting, I don't like being outdoors. Let's say you're that person who doesn't like outdoors. Then I'm like, why is that on your list? Why is that turkey stare down on your list, man? Because somebody else is on their list and they look happy. So
Well,
that's
for the record, he was just trying to stare at it. He wasn't trying to hunt it or kill it or anything.
He didn't want to
yes,
kill
yes,
it.
he
He
did.
just wanted to
Yeah.
stare at it.
Yeah.
Well, he's
Yeah.
a peaceful kid.
Yeah.
Hey, but I want to throw this out there real quick because I think he's still watching. Our friend Isaac Sanchez, my buddy Isaac Sanchez, he is such a great dude, and he's been on deck.
What's up,
And
Isaac?
Isaac, if you're watching, please feel free to type something into the comments, and we'll share it. Isaac is a goal-setting king. This guy is a monster at this stuff, and I joked about this when Isaac was on the show. If we put Rick and Isaac in a room together, it would be hot. There would be like this positive energy explosion, right? They would come out and they would be the two best friends in the world, or they would come out and it would be a reverse effect. They'd hate each other because I'm more positive than you, or I'm no. It would be, it would be a love fight. Anyway,
it happened that when he came to Deck Day at Aquarian and he was
oh my God,
awesome.
right? He's such great. So Isaac, give us some ideas of what you do for setting goals, because he's a goal setting guy. And while you're talking, Jeremy.
Oh, wait,
sorry,
right,
Rick, I stepped on you. Sorry.
I have one more. Just
you have one more. Go.
Kind of finish up the thought. I won't take up too much time.
I'm sorry.
We got to hear from Jeremy. So what I do is, I'm just going to put out an intent and just kind of go from there. I do know this. I want to offer the best, most inspiring educational lessons for people, So I'm not like going, I've got to hit 30 hours a week of teaching. I just say to myself, I want to be inspiring to my students. Right. I want to have fun. I want to make it about them. And then I think all of this other stuff will follow. I really think a lot will happen if I'm sincere to what works for me, to what's to my best and highest good. So, and I want to apply that to deck. I want to go into deck with enthusiasm. You know, people, you don't realize we put a lot of time into this.
We really do. We
do. We really, really do. And we don't always know how many people are watching. But I just want to focus on, I get energized from the four of us and what we do every week. And so if I put a goal like Deck has got to have 500 views per episode and we have to start making some money and all this shit, it's just
forget
it. But
it's about helping drummers. That's what it's about.
Yeah. If I'm helping drummers like Bart, what you always talk about, if we're helping drummers out and we're getting energized, then that's the direction that I'm going. So I want to apply that to my endorsements.
Yep.
I want to enjoy finishing up my book series. Rather than I have to have my fourth book by July. I'm just not going to do that to myself anymore. I just want to enjoy it. And then I want to have fun with all my technology, which has been one of the hardest things I've done to get all the technology of this place together. And I just want to enjoy it. So
I would hate to have to go into your studio and move a drum set out of there for a gig, because it would just be
no.
Simple answer.
Too many wires, man. It's these aren't moved to gig. This kit, my old Ludwig, this stays here. It lives here.
So Rick, what are a couple of your goals for this year, man? What do you got on deck?
Well, I want to be the best version of myself.
There you go.
And my big thing is I really want to watch negative thoughts. I just think that we've talked about this before on the show. 90% of the world could be going right in your world, and then you focusing on the 10%.
Yep.
That's trying to fix it. I want to get out of that. You
Hmm.
know, so I want to stay off
Yeah.
news. I want to cut back on social media.
Hmm.
And I want to be able to take some vacations with my wife and family and do that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
then I want to just apply myself to all the things that I just love to do and then experiment this year to see what happens. So that's
awesome.
that's it.
Right on.
That's it.
That's-
So
Okay, Jeremy, you're up.
thanks, Chip.
That's fantastic, Rick. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much food for thought and so many things you touched on.
Cool, dude.
You know what? You know, we have this show. It's the first week in January, and we have it because it's the new year, and we talk about setting goals and what are goals for the new year? Like, it's a kind of arbitrary thing, right? The calendar
Yeah.
changed. All of a sudden,
Right.
we're talking about goals and new ideas and ambitions and things. But you know, 95% of New Year's resolutions that people make fail, right?
Yeah.
And that's because they're thinking about. I mean, we all have, good intentions. Let's say, like, oh, you know, I'd like to be different in this way. I'd like to make more money. I'd like to have more gigs. I'd like to be, you know, whatever, lose weight, or I'd like to, bulk up, or whatever it is. But anything that's going to change requires like a commitment to something different than what has happened so far. And change, as human beings, we tend to be resistant to change.
Yeah.
And that's sort of hard baked, I think, into our DNA, you know?
Yeah.
And so I don't make New Year's resolutions. You know, I did when I was younger, and I never lived up to them. So I thought, well, this is kind of a silly thing. Why don't I just, if there's something that I want to do, that's some aspect of my life that I want to change, I need to think of it not necessarily at the beginning of the year, but, you know, whenever it hits me, and think about, like Chip said in the beginning, what would need to happen in my life for those things to become true and real.
Yes.
And, you know, I try, I'm not always successful, but I try to operate like that all the time, you know,
Yep.
not just on January 1st, but throughout the year. You know, and you know, I'm human, never like everybody. You know, some days I'm successful with it, and other days I'm not. And some days I have my clear intention, like Rick was talking about, and it manifests in a beautiful way. And other times, you know, negative thoughts creep in and take hold and you know, steer me off the path. But
Yeah.
you know, you've got to allow yourself that ebb and flow, that success and failure, that, you know, that's just who we are. You know, we're not always going to be doing everything we need to be getting better. You know, my students, not all of my students practice all the time. Shocker. Yeah.
They don't?
Right? But you know,
What are you doing wrong?
right. I think I need to send them to Chip Ritter and or Rick Stojak, or one of you guys. Anyways, you know, but it's like, okay, so I think about that too. My own students who struggle with motivation to practice. That's my job, is to come to them with ideas and inspiration, and help them get out of their funk. You know, I had a lesson yesterday, first lesson of the year. One of my students, he came in and he was just piss and vinegar, man. He was like, he had a crappy attitude and was like, I don't know for what I'm doing. I don't know if I want to practice. I don't know if I want to get better. And, you know, instead of saying, oh no, you have to practice, you have to get better, man, that's what it's all about. I wasn't like that at all. I was like, let's talk about it. You know, what's going on for you that this is why you're feeling this way, and what could we do? You know, is this something you think you want? You know, it doesn't have to be. You don't have to want it. And that's like Rick was saying, like, you better be clear about what you want. Make sure it's something that you really want.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're working towards something and you get there and you're like, not so satisfying as I had hoped. Right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So it's good to really take some time and think about, you know, what aspects of your life do you want to change? Is it related to drumming and music, or career, or business, or relationships, personal health?
Yeah.
And, you know, if you really are serious about it, what do you want to, you know, like Chip was saying, set up a plan. What needs to happen in order to get there? What are the steps? Because it all, just like Confucius says, journey of 10,000 miles begins with one step.
Yeah.
No other way to get there. So, and all the success that nice, Rick, nice.
Dude, hey, go across the room and hit the gong. I want to hear the gong. The China was great, but go hit the gong.
Oh, I'm too wired up with all my
what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. That was
You know, when I go to your studio, that's going to
Sorry,
be the
sorry.
first thing I do is I'm going to go over and hit that damn gong. Okay,
Sorry.
Jeremy, sorry.
That's all right. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. It was
Blah,
worth it. It
blah,
was
blah,
worth it.
blah,
It was
blah,
worth
blah,
it.
blah.
Confucius, 10,000 mile
10,000.
journey, one
Oh, yeah,
step.
just one step at a time, right. And here's the other thing that I get, I come back to, and I talk to my students about a lot, is that you have to make the process enjoyable. If you're
Yeah.
trying to lose weight, if you're trying to get better at drumming, if you're trying to get into a band, these things are going to take time, and you have to make it so that you can enjoy the process of getting there, because that's all we have. Otherwise you get there and you think, okay, I did it. I got the band. I got the endorsement. I got the cover of Modern Drummer. I got the tour. I got whatever. I got, and then now what?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've experienced that myself, and also peers, they've got the big gig, they go on tour, and I'm like, wow, that's so awesome. They come back, yeah, it was kind of brutal, man. I was away from my family and didn't make as much money as I thought, and I kind of got into it with the manager, blah 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 blah. And it's not always what you think it's going to be. So the clearer you are on your intention and why you want the things you want, I think the better, and the more likely you are going to be to make meaningful changes, if that's what you're after, to your life. So for myself, thank you. For myself, one of the Mophone, one of the bands I've been playing in for about 20 years, a trio of 2 saxophones and drums. We just got a grant to make a new album next year. So that's one of my goals, is to put that out, which I'm super excited about. And we're all writing some more original material. So that's one little piece of things. There's another group I have that's a jazz trio, and we're going to make a recording this year too. So I got a couple of recording projects happening, which I'm very excited about, and putting those out into the world. This is my son is a junior in high school, and he's a really accomplished jazz piano player. And
he is a ripping piano player.
Thank you. He sat in on several of my gigs in the past, and everyone's always going crazy for him because he's so great and so young. And I had this thought, like, wow, I'm when he goes, I'm going to be wrecked, because my kid going off to college will be empty nesters. But I thought, well, he's such a great player, and I enjoy playing with him so much. I'm always got this massive ear to ear smile when we're on stage together. Why don't I take advantage of that and try to play some shows with him? Like,
there you go.
Clubs I play, I can book it as a jazz trio, and he and I can do our thing with a bass player. And so that's another one of my goals, is to play with him as much as I can before he goes off to college.
Right on.
That's
and
very cool.
just try to be as present as I can, even though, he's a teenager and doing his own thing, and, doesn't hang out with mom and dad as much as he did when he was little. I kind of feel like I want to be as present as I can be in those moments that I have with him, to enjoy, that connection while he's still here.
That's great. Hey, Chip, we have a few, sorry, I didn't mean to just cut you off there, Jeremy. I apologize.
Yeah, okay.
Those were awesome. Before I say anything, what we have some Facebook people that have put some great comments, and you're watching.
Isaac Sanchez says, my go-to goal planning follows Dr. Stephen Covey's idea in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The main idea, begin with the end in mind. What do you want to be? What do you want to do? Work your way backwards. And then 2, the second idea of habit stacking is from the book Atomic Habits, which helps me start doing the things that will get me to be to that point. And number 3, you must be accountable to someone. You must. And he says there's a lot more, including the great ideas you are sharing. But for starters, I appreciate you even asking. So thank you, Isaac.
And
then
great advice.
McManus says, I want to join another band this year, and I love the idea of getting involved in the community. I've enjoyed everything I've been involved with, from jam sessions to remote collaborations to covers and originals in a regular band. I've been debating if I really want to focus on one path or see what comes my way. Any advice you guys have about managing drum-related goals when there are so many opportunities and areas to grow in?
Beautiful. Great question.
That's awesome. My advice, I just want to jump right in there, is, always have a few drumming goals set aside outside of the band that you're playing in. And what I mean by that is you know, let's say you're playing in a band that does all, you know, New Orleans second line drumming. That's been a theme of the show. Okay, so you're doing all this New Orleans second line stuff, and you're doing it because you're really good at it. But man, you just love reggae music, and you're not a real good reggae player, but you want to get better at it. Well, then work on the reggae stuff outside of what you're doing with the band, because the band, it's going to be a creative process. It's going to be enjoyable for you to work with other musicians. My favorite part about being in a band is when I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and that band hits like a sledgehammer, the connection that goes on between the musicians is my favorite part. That's always the part to me that is the most important, the connection and the music, and that we play the music correctly. And you will enjoy that as well, as I'm sure you have. Outside of that, you always want to, I think, be sharpening the knife on the other side, because, hey, again, I'm not a real good reggae player, but I really like that music. So you start getting good at it. And that's when the opportunities start coming to you. Because like Rick says you put an intent out there. You say something, sometimes just saying it out loud. I want to play in a reggae band, right? And you're working on reggae music, and you're listening to reggae, and then you're talking to people about reggae, and you're talking to people about reggae drumming, and pretty soon, hey, it's out there in the universe and it comes towards you. So always have a goal outside of what you're doing with a group that you want to meet musically. I think that that's very, very, very important.
And if you start growing dreadlocks, then you should pursue.
Yeah, you see, that's what happened to me. I got all these dreadlocks going on, and that's why I get all the calls for the gig.
Ken's, you say in your comment, which is great, and thank you for asking. You say,
yeah, thank you.
You've been debating if I really want to focus on one path or see what comes my way. And in my mind, like, whatever's going to come your way is always going to come your way on some level.
Yeah.
Like I say, like, focus on whatever you're doing, whether it's a gig or what have you, practicing, always be fully committed and focused in that moment, on the stage, in the gig, whatever. And bring the best version of yourself to that activity, to that endeavor, right?
Yeah.
And the more you do that as a life habit, the more good things are going to come your way.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the specifics of your situation. Like, oh, these bands are asking me for a commitment, and I'm not sure if I want to because I want to leave my options open. Sure, that's a different story. But, I kind of feel like, we once had a guest on, John Mader, who's a great drummer, plays with, has played in Hamilton and with, who's the guy from Creedence, John Fogerty, and all sorts of other great musicians. And he said, he talked about making his own luck. We talk about, you got to be in the right place at the right time. And he said, well, I'm going to be as prepared as I can be so that more of those kinds of situations come my way.
Yep.
And that's kind of it. I think that's the name of the game, is like, work hard to hone your craft, be responsible, be professional, be on time, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And put yourself in a position for things to be able to come your way.
It is. Ken's, I am so proud of you. Ken's is a student of mine, and you're already doing it. You're just so part of the drumming community that it's just really, really exciting to see. So, Ken's was at Deck Day. She drove up from San Diego to see the clinics. She stayed for the whole thing. Everyone did, really, but you're doing it just by thinking about this.
Yeah.
Just by watching this show, all of this stuff is happening. And so I have no doubt in my mind that it's just going to keep building and building and building. And it's really cool to see. Ken's is from Seattle and was way into like, the grunge kind of rock thing, and it's just pure passion. Ken started off on Rock Band with the video game thing, and then just really loved doing this. And it's like, oh, that feels good. Maybe I should take drum lessons and get a drum set. And it's just a natural thing. You're in the right direction because you're always getting energized and you're always enthusiastic about it. So now I could see why you're like, uh-oh, there's so many things to focus on, because check it out. We just started working on jazz.
Mm.
Ken's wasn't a jazz person, didn't know jazz,
Mhm.
and discovered this is cool music. And there's this ability to perform it too.
Mhm.
And so, now I could, apply jazz. So perhaps what you might do is get in that band with, that Seattle-based kind of grunge sound, and then start throwing in some jazz licks. So I just
Excellent.
think you're just totally in the right direction. And
Or find yourself a jazz, trio or a workshop, like here in Berkeley, they've got a ton of amazing resources. I don't know what they have where you're at, but there's programs where you can sign up to be in a jazz combo that lasts for 10 weeks, and with a coach, and then you play a performance, and that's a really great way to cut your teeth and learn the style with low
yeah,
state.
yeah, just really
I,
exciting.
if you wouldn't mind, I want to throw my 2 cents in on a couple of
Yes.
things as far as goals are concerned.
Oh,
If
please. Yeah, please, Bart. We never got to you.
Bart,
We
never got
caught
to
all
you.
the way
you
around.
know what? That's okay. I've been enjoying your guys' stuff so much that I actually forgot that I hadn't said anything. I was so everybody's just killing it today with these fantastic ideas, and so I kind of wanted to throw a couple ideas in there that. Um, one of the things that I've noticed is each one of us it has said, what we wanted to talk about with goals, but everybody's also, between the four of us, the three of you guys hasn't said, oh, I want to be, a rock star, make $1 million, and I want to set goals to be the greatest drummer in the world. I think everybody, like, Rick, I want to go on vacations with my family.
Yeah.
I want to, there's so much more to life that
Mhm.
outside of music is such a passionate thing that everybody gets into for when people get into it for one reason or another, that we sometimes forget about the other stuff. I know that I did for a long time. And I love the fact that everybody's like, hey, I want to spend time with my family. I want, Jeremy's like, my son's getting ready to go to college and I want to play music with my son. And it's great
Yeah.
that, there's the passion, but it's with my family. I think there's so many things that are so important that if you put the best version of you into all of those things,
Mhm.
drumming, being what we're talking about, but you put it into your family, into your home, into those types of things, then that's what you're going to get. You're going to get the best results out of life itself, and that's the way that I think, like Rick said, trying to think positive about this stuff. Last year, I was thinking about this at the end of the year. I was like, God, last year was such an incredible year for me because my wife and I had set some goals for ourselves personally. And on top of that, we had set some goals for our home here, and we got all those goals done. Plus, I came out with 2 albums last year, and I built my teaching career more, and I had another rudimental chart published, and I did all these things, and it was because I did set my goals. Now, the thing that I think is important to say about goals, we've said this a little bit earlier today. I don't think that resolutions stick. A resolution is an idea to end maybe a problem, or I'm going to resolve this thing. I'm setting a resolution to whatever. You have to set the goal. A goal, you write it out, you work towards it. But a resolution is, well, I want to go to the gym and get in shape, and that lasts till January 8th. And then you're no longer in the gym, you're back to your old habits. Once again, what Jeremy said, I'm echoing a lot of you guys today, I know, but I think it's the setting of the goal and making a habit. I make it a habit. My alarm goes off in the morning. I've always been an early riser, but I get up early. I go to the gym. When I get to the gym, I do one of two things. I've been a yoga practitioner for over 20 or for since 2009 is when I really started it. And I do yoga all the time, pretty much every day, or I lift weights, or I do something to keep myself physically and mentally fit. And I think that those things are phenomenally important. Then I come home and I do my business. Then I practice, my business being the computer stuff and the paperwork. And then I practice. But all of those things are goal oriented. They're not
Mhm.
resolution oriented. They're goal
Mhm.
oriented. So I think having the goals and setting the goals is so important. Making steps towards them, and 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 doing it daily, making it a habit is so important because the habit.
Getting it on your to-do list. Yeah.
Well,
Exactly,
and then
exactly,
the other piece, like Isaac brought up, was being accountable to somebody and how important that is.
exactly. Yes,
So it could
having a
be
mentor, having a teacher, having somebody.
right. It could be your spouse or your partner, or your
Yeah.
boyfriend or girlfriend. It could be your teacher. I mean, that's one of the most important aspects to me about taking drum lessons is that you're
Yes.
accountable for being on top of your shit every week, right? Because you don't
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
come in and be like, oh man, I didn't practice, disappointing my
Yeah.
teacher. And that's part of why you take lessons is to be accountable. It's why even the most elite athletes in the world still work with personal trainers.
Yes.
Yes.
Because
Very much so.
they're
Very much
accountable,
so.
and it makes a huge difference.
There's a great and I mean he's been retired for a number of years now, but there's so much great footage on YouTube of Peyton Manning and the work ethic that he had when he was at the top of his game. He had gone to uh, he had won a Super Bowl, gone to a second Super Bowl and lost it, went to the third Super Bowl and won it. And the work ethic that it took him to get there. And once he was there, he didn't stop. I mean, he was just an amazing athlete. And that's an athlete. I mean, and I really think that athletics and music really kind of
Very
do
similar.
this a lot.
Yes.
And then one last piece of information, Jeremy, for your son. I found myself on November 8th in a staring contest with a turkey. And so what I do, and as you guys know, I usually, like, if you see pictures of me when I'm playing, I always wear Ray-Ban aviator sunglasses, but I wear mirrored ones. So that turkey didn't stand a chance. I could blink, I could close my eyes, I could whatever. I kicked that turkey's butt. So there you
Nice.
go. There's a little advice if you find yourself in a staring contest with the turkey.
Well, Bart, that's locked and loaded in here for now.
Well,
Love it.
sometimes you got to, do what
Bart,
you got to do, man.
you know
Hey.
what you're talking about too? I think it's lifestyle.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, and that's what we're all talking about, really. Like we talk,
Yeah.
goals are really, changing your lifestyle, and that's part of why resolutions don't usually succeed because you're talking about, I want to make a change. I want this thing that I don't have. Gimme, as opposed to
Yep.
changing, the lifestyle and that's more sustainable, right? This is the new way of doing things. I'm going to be practicing more. I'm going to be eating better. I'm exercising more, whatever.
Right.
Hey, there's a great comment from Donna Ozawa. She says, excellent advice all around. Thank you for all the ideas and guidance. I don't want to get so obsessed with a specific goal that I lose the joy and wonder that I've experienced with a lot of firsts in the
Nice.
last year.
Yeah.
Thank you again for building up this community, inspiring and helping so many drummers.
There's a comment from Donna Ozawa that says, "Can you speak?" Okay.
Oh, that's the one I meant to. That's the one I meant to read. I may have misspoke there. What I meant to read. Sorry, guys. Was can you speak to relationships that are building with your band that you are building with your bandmates or potential colleagues? How much does knowing the right people play into advancing your goals? And how do you cultivate good relations with fellow musicians? And how much does your work in music impact your close relationships? Great.
Oh, those are
Wow.
each of those questions are a show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Each
Those are
one
the
is a
best
show.
questions.
And actually, to kind of think forward to next week, we are going to be doing a show next week about dealing with difficult musicians because we've all, we laugh about it now, but we all have horror stories, I'm sure. So we're going to do a show about that.
Those questions will be answered for next week's show for sure.
Yeah, I do have to say, I think, in a nutshell, there's a thing that happens when you're playing with musicians, and it seems to be a common thread, and that is that you're dealing with people that are creative, and also there's egos involved. And I think everybody will say that they leave their ego at the door, but do they really? Do you really? Are you putting your best foot forward to propel the music, to propel the group, to propel the band, because a band is a business. And when you're in business with people, a lot of times there are assumptions, and I've run into that problem before, where I assumed that everybody wanted the same thing, they wanted the same end goal, and they didn't. And so you end up coming across like you're stepping on people's feet. Again, that'll be something that'll be talked about in great detail next week. I'll throw this out there as a plug for myself. If you go to my YouTube channel, just look up Bart Robley. And I used to have a podcast that I did, and it was hosted on YouTube. It's still there, called the Bart Factor. And I interviewed Mitch Marine. He's been on the show here with us. Mitch is a drummer for Dwight Yoakam. And at the very end of the podcast, I asked Mitch, I'm like, okay, what's the most important thing about being in a band? And he said it so simply. He goes, oh, that's easy. Just don't be a dick. And you know what? That's so true, and if you point a finger at somebody else, you got three pointing back at you. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Check that stuff out.
I'd like to address your question, Donna. I think the people you choose to surround yourself with is one of the most important decisions you can make.
Yep.
In terms of, whatever the quality of the relationships you develop, and also like where those things lead for you. I think about, and there's so many layers to unpack with that, but like I think about famous music, drummer and band leader, or drummer and instrumentalist pairs that were long lasting. Max Weinberg with Bruce Springsteen, Nigel Elton John, whatever, the guys in Rush, Clifford Brown and Max Roach, these pairing, John Coltrane and Elvin Jones, these pairings of people that ended up being so important for the development of both of their careers, musically, artistically, and sometimes otherwise, business wise, career wise. So, I'm now very thoughtful in a way that I didn't used to be about the bands that I get into. It's kind of like when I was younger, in my 20s or whatever, and dating, it would be very easy for me to sort of start seeing people and get into relationships, but then, oh man, I didn't see the writing on the wall and this isn't the right fit. And then it's hard to get out. But, as I grew older and more mature and more self-aware, you make smarter decisions about who you can see the writing on the wall a lot more clearly in the beginning. Right. So I think that's really, really important to pay attention to with the bandmates that you surround yourself with, the groups you decide to play in, the managers you hire to work with those bands, all the people you hire. You really got to make sure that they have integrity and they're good characters. And like Bart said, that they have the same goals in mind as you, but also similar ideas about how to get there. You may have the same goal. Yeah, we want to be successful, but what does that even mean? That might mean two different things to different people. And how are you going to get there? One person thinks it's going to be sleeping on couches and playing, driving through every city. And another person says, no, man, it's all about, getting on YouTube and being successful there. So I think being really thoughtful about who you surround yourself with, who you play with, will make a big difference in terms of your ability to achieve your goals, musically, professionally, and otherwise.
Donna, real quick, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I literally just now cut and pasted a link in the comments to the show to a book called The War of Art, not the art of war, but the war of art. I highly, highly, highly suggest that to you and to anybody that is in the music business, and what it means to. It's such a helpful book on being a creative person and dealing with people and everything like that. I highly recommend the book. Follow the link, buy the book. It'll be one of some of the best money that you've ever spent. It will really help you a lot. There's one last quote, and then I'll shut up. I'm also going to put a link to Jeremy's book in there in just a second. His book, Finding the Groove, is an unbelievable book. If you haven't read it, I will put a link for that one as well.
Thanks, Bart.
Yeah, a great book. But
Yeah.
there's an old saying that, you are, if you look at the 5 people that you hang out with the most, right?
Mm-hmm.
5 people that you hang out with the most. You love them, you hate them, you know their good habits, you know their bad habits, you know everything about them. Well, guess what? You are a sum of those 5 people. So the 5 people that you hang out with the most is what you will likely do, right? So if you're hanging out with a bunch of people that are losers, well, guess what? But if you're hanging out with people that have the same mindset and the same goals and the same everything, well, you're going to become like them. So I'll shut up. I will put a link to Jeremy's book in there right now. But check
Hey,
out The
Jim,
Art
Good
of War
stuff.
and Finding the Groove.
Good
Jim
stuff,
Royal
Bart.
says, "Happy New Year, gentlemen." Hi, Jim.
Oh, Happy New Year, buddy.
Jim,
Nancy Madero says, "My bass player wants to rock out, but my lead vocalist guitar guy wants to play more mellow. As the drummer, I'm stuck in the middle."
Yeah, that's going to be a perfect segue to talking about stuff next week, where we talk about difficult band members. But
Yeah.
that to me, that sounds just like a communication thing right off the bat. You guys
totally.
maybe have a sit down talk and say, hey, what do you want this band
Have
to
a
be?
meeting.
Maybe
And
the band needs to do some goal planning, Nancy.
Right. Can we do we feel like our goals are aligned? Or is there enough compromise that we could both rock out and do some more mellow stuff and have
Can
a
we
balance?
take some from this goal and some from that goal and meet in the middle?
Right. Or is it like, what, this isn't going to be a long lasting thing because the bass player just wants to rock out and the guitar player wants to go in a different direction. Then you need to choose whose direction you want to go in, or maybe you want to go somewhere different.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd like to address Donna's question real briefly.
Yeah,
also,
please.
I know we're running out of time.
It's a
But
lot.
Donna, if you have great playing, if you're just rocking out on the drums and you're easy to work with, you're going to find those right people. And just by helping advance their career, your career is going to move forward. So think about what you can contribute to their project. How do you, as a drummer, how do you make it easy for them on stage or in the studio to perform their parts? And
Yes.
yep.
Sorry, Rick.
And I think that's what's going to cultivate great relationships with your band members, by just being a joy to be around and play with. And you can bring that to your home life too. It can make your home life, being a musician. That's a whole topic.
Right.
Being a musician with your family, it can be really fun for family members, but you just have to have a nice balance where you're giving yourself and your family enough attention. But perhaps cool gigs that you go on can be really exciting for your family members. And so just try to make it work for everyone you're around.
If you find too, Donna, that you're working with people that I had mentioned a minute ago, where you think that you have the same goals as them, and you pretty much everybody has the same goals, and you're doing a lot of work, and you're you're trying so hard to make something happen, but they're not, and then things go wrong. You know what? Kick the dust off your feet and just go on to the next thing. I think I'm not seeing who did it, but what I'm almost positive that this is my friend Isaac. Bad company corrupts good character. Corinthians 15:33. That is so true. Was that Isaac?
That's Nancy.
Oh, okay. Wow. Nancy, awesome. Yes, it's very true. That's very, very, very true. And you are right. It does. If you're hanging out with somebody and they're, yeah. My mom always used to say the same thing. It was just worded differently. Bad association spoils useful habits, and it's so true. So true.
I think that tying all the thing that you just said, Bart, and also what Rick just said together, is like, you want to surround yourself with people that can help you grow. And in turn, you will help them grow.
Yes. That's it.
And so
I totally agree.
When you're evaluating, is this the right band for me? Is this the right relationship for me? Do I want to get involved with this group of people or this musician? Is this someone who could help you grow as a player? It could be musically, it could be socially, it could be, spiritually, whatever. And do I think I could have that same impact and influence on them? And great.
Awesome.
And if not, oh man, this person, they're a really good musician, but they got so many hangups, and they're always, bad mouthing other people. And after the show, they're always talking about all the things that went wrong. Man, that doesn't sound good to me. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter how
Very
good
true.
they are. Doesn't matter how good they are. If they're not going to help you grow in important ways, then it's not a good relationship.
This
Right.
is true.
And
Okay,
I'm going to
guys.
leave with this.
Oh,
What
okay.
you-
Go. Yes. Go
what
for
you-
it, Rick.
What you focus on, you get. So watch your focus.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
That's it.
All right. So, guys, forgot to show you this. You guys get one of those.
No.
Whoa. Santa bring
at
you
that.
that?
Look at that.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty
Wow.
cool, right? Yeah, that's pretty cool. Anyway, I don't even know what that is, but it's pretty cool. It spins and it has. I'm attracted to shiny objects, So anyway, guys, everybody who's watching,
out, Yoda.
there's
Take us
Yoda.
out, Yoda.
Helpful you are on the deck.
I'm a rebel. I am Hans. Oh, you know what? Hold on, I got to get his sidekick here. I got.
Oh,
We got-
R2. Look, we got the whole gang. This is
We
awesome.
got Yoda, we got Han Solo and Chewie.
Wow.
What do you got, Rick?
I got a lightsaber.
He's not a nerd.
Yes, he is.
He's not.
You
He got a room full of drums.
Wait a minute. He's
Ah,
at his,
I
at his
got a
home,
phaser.
Squirrel.
at his home office, he's got the Starship Enterprise right behind him.
You're right.
That's
you're
right.
There you
That's
go.
right.
Yeah.
Would have loved Star Wars.
Dude, exactly. I got nothing. Okay, guys,
Oh,
listen. I want somebody said squirrel.
Oh,
It's true. That's why I can't keep a gig. Squirrel.
Hey, even a blind squirrel finds a nut sometimes.
Hey, you know what we do? Hey, listen, everybody, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for your input. Guys, do not hang up when we get off the air. I got to throw something at you real quick. Onward and upward, as our friend Dom Fimularo would say, into 2023. Everybody have a fantastic Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm gonna put the man on the spot, the guy below me, the guy in Tucson, my buddy Chip Ritter. I just learned something new about you today. Jeremy, you get ready to hit the big red button to sign us off. And while you're signing us off, Chip, wrap us out, baby. Wrap us out. Come on.
Parental discretion is advised. When Chip Ritter gets candid, I'll rock like a one-armed bandit. Arrange the tempo, I rock the solo, the ream the mic to the mic, and it's oh so raw. It makes you want to jam. Then you're going, damn, he's good, and you're right, and I am, and I'm strong enough to reach him. There's somebody got to learn, so someone's got to teach them. I'm amplified by a microphone, so love leave the pad alone.
Awesome.
Woo!
See you guys next week on deck. Have a
Happy New
great
Year.
week.